All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something pretty heavy. It's an account from inside Germany's forensic psychiatric system, a world the author says isn't a hospital at all, but a modern-day black site.
Yeah, you heard that right. The core claim here is just staggering. That right in the heart of Berlin, there's a secret prison, hiding in plain sight as a mental health care facility. And according to this source, it has nothing to do with healing. It's all about control, suppression, and, well, permanently taking people off the board.
So, you gotta ask, how could something like this even be possible? Well, the author points to a specific legal framework, a concept he calls penal psychiatry.
Okay, so this is the engine behind it all. According to the source, paragraph 63 of the German Criminal Code. It basically allows for mentally ill offenders to be locked up indefinitely. And here's the really terrifying part. The author claims this creates a loophole where your original crime, it could be something pretty minor, becomes totally irrelevant. Your sentence can literally be forever. The goal, he argues, isn't to make you better. It's just to get you out of society for good.
So, what's it really like on the inside of this so-called black site? The author gives us this chilling day-by-day account, not just about himself, but about the other men trapped in there with him. Let's meet some of them. All right, first up, there's a guy they call the Demon. He's described as, well, a career criminal since he was a kid. A guy who just can't stop stealing. Apparently, he's just roaming the ward every single day looking for his next score.
And this story, wow, it just says it all. You see, according to the author, this reveals the fundamental brokenness of the whole system. The demon's crimes, they have zero consequences. I mean, what are they going to do? Add more time to an infinite sentence? So police reports just get filed and then dropped. This basically gives him a free pass to do whatever he wants, and the only thing stopping him is the fear that his victims might take their own revenge.
Then there's the patient known as the werewolf. And this is a really tragic, scary story. A man who, in the middle of a psychotic break, killed 3 people with his bare hands. And even after 15 years of being institutionalized, with all the therapy and medication you can imagine, he's still a walking time bomb.
This scene just highlights the constant, terrifying threat of violence hanging over everyone. But it also reveals something, well, really disturbing about the place. After the attack, the whole ward apparently celebrated because the guy who got beat up was universally hated. It paints this picture of a brutal, completely dysfunctional little society, where the only thing preventing a murder is a nurse stepping in at the last second, and where everyone's cheering for mob justice.
And finally, to give you a sense of just how grim the day-to-day is, the author describes his own living situation for a while. Get this, he had to share a bathroom with 2 other men. One was a necrophiliac who'd murdered his friend and then sexually assaulted the body. The other was a pedophile who later killed himself during a day pass. And this is where it gets really insidious. The author claims that the absolute chaos and filth created by these other men, it was all written down in his file and blamed on him. It was a way, he says, to build a fake paper trail to prove he was unstable, which they then used to justify keeping him locked up and forcing medication on him. Just the audacity, right? So, all of these experiences, they form the foundation for the author's much bigger critique. He starts to argue that the problem isn't just this one place. It's the entire field of psychiatry as it's practiced in a place like this. He sees it as just a system of control. And this right here, this is the heart of his argument. He's basically saying that talk therapy is powerless, that this whole idea, which he traces back to Freud, is a delusion. Sure, talking to someone might make you feel a little better for a bit, but he claims it has never, not once in history, actually cured real, deep-seated mental illness. So this really breaks it down, doesn't it? On one side, you have what psychiatry promises: healing, therapy, cures. But on the other side, you have the author's indictment. He sees a massive industry with a powerful lobby. Instead of cures, he sees charlatans experimenting on people. And instead of help, he just sees them prolonging people's suffering with drugs that don't work and therapy sessions that go nowhere. And that brings us to this number, 40. This is the crucial point for him.
He points to guys in there who have been locked away for 20, 30, even 40 years. They've gotten the full dose of everything the system can throw at them: one-on-one therapy, group therapy, every pill imaginable. And, in his words, they are still completely crazy. So for him, the conclusion is obvious. None of it works. It's all useless. Okay, so if the therapy doesn't work, then what's the point of this place? Well, according to the author, it's all about control. A system that's held in place by very specific methods. Methods he straight up calls torture. And man, this list from the source material is just horrifying. We're talking long-term physical restraints, months of isolation, forced medication, but it goes even further. He alleges there's covert poisoning of food and water, even gassing of cells. All of this, he says, is designed to psychologically break people down while they fake the medical records to make it all look legal. Let's talk about one of the most extreme methods he describes, the 5-point fixation. Now, this is not just being handcuffed to a bed. This is total immobilization. Your arms, your legs, your torso all strapped down. And the author is absolutely adamant. This is not a safety measure used as a last resort. He says it's a tool for punishment, plain and simple. And here, he describes what it actually feels like. You know, hearing his own words really transforms that clinical term fixation into this visceral, terrifying reality of being completely and utterly helpless. And he claims this is a state they could keep you in for ages. But probably the most extreme allegation, the one that sounds like something out of a spy movie, is what he calls a covert chemical war. He is claiming that the staff systematically put sedatives into the patient's food and water, and even pump gases into the isolation cells to keep people docile. And this is how he says the twisted logic works. It's a vicious cycle. First, they poison your food. So what do? You stop eating as much, right? It's a logical reaction. But then, boom, they have their diagnosis. They write you up for self-endangering behavior. And that manufactured diagnosis becomes the legal cover they need to punish you even more, with long-term isolation and forced medication. It's a perfect trap. Look, the stories and claims laid out in these documents, they force you to ask a really tough question. Where do you draw the line between necessary medical treatment for truly dangerous people and just a systematic violation of their human rights? It's probably the biggest challenge these kinds of institutions face. But for the author, in the world of what he calls penal psychiatry, that line has been completely erased.